Good evening to those in the UK and hello to others who are around the world. Tonight I'm going to be joined by Naomi, who is a cognitive hypnotherapist from Embrace Fertility, and we're going to be talking all about the power of the mind and your thoughts. Here she is. I'm just going to invite her now. Hello to everyone who's joining. I'm just inviting Naomi in now, and then we've got some great stuff to talk about, and she's going to tell us all about her fertile thoughts activation process and give us 5 tips. Good evening. Hi, Naomi.
Hello.
How are you today?
Good, thank you. Good.
Good.
Enjoying the
Good.
sun.
Yeah. Long may it last. Hello to those who are joining. I've just given a little introduction, but it'd be great if you could introduce yourself, and then we can talk about what we're going to cover tonight.
Fantastic. So yes, I'm Naomi. I run Embrace Fertility. I went through infertility, IVF and marriage myself. It took almost 4 years to conceive my son. And through that journey, I learned about mindfulness and the power of the mind, and was so fascinated that I left my career in design and retrained as a cognitive hypnotherapist, and now help couples around the world with their mindset and fertility support and enhancing fertility using the power of the mind.
Amazing. And I'm sure people watching and myself, I'm intrigued to hear more about how we can sort of embrace or help with our thoughts process. And you said in the video that we put up today that, you know, one of the most difficult things to hear when you're obviously stressed trying to conceive or going through fertility treatment is just relax, try and stay positive. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, this was a huge thing for me, because before trying to conceive, I was really interested in the law of attraction and the power of thoughts, and, you know, decide what you want, set an intention, work towards it, and stuff happens. And my experience very much before was like, you know, I want a career in design, I want to work in Islington, in London, I want to win this student design award. And everything, you know, worked hard and everything just fell into place. And then when it came to trying to conceive and I wasn't getting pregnant, it was kind of like, well, hang on, this is working. And because I had a lot of friends interested in this as well, they're like, oh, you know, just stay positive. You know, you're obviously, you know, you need to really, really believe it. Then you get pregnant. And obviously as the months passed, and I was like, well, you know, I really want a baby. Why isn't it happening? So I was trying to force myself to like really believe and force myself to stay positive, and it was just actually making me really anxious, and added to me of getting to the point where I was having panic attacks because I just wasn't coping. We were going through treatment and it was so overwhelming, and so I just wasn't in the right headspace for the treatment. And my clinic were amazing, and they were like, right, Naomi, you know, you need to do something about this now. This was impacting treatment that I had like a massive fear of needles. So every blood shot, every injection was like huge anxiety coming up. So that's when I learned about mindfulness and the mind-body link. And now as a therapist, when I've learned the depth of what your mind can achieve, it's fascinating. But just trying to stay positive and override any anxiety or negative feelings, because actually every emotion has a purpose, it's like sticking a sticking plaster on like a massive wound that's like using it like, stick it on, I am fertile, I am fertile, I am fertile. And you're like, well, it's not, you don't feel fertile in your body, you're not in that zone, you're just adding stuff onto it.
And when you talk about that added stress and that sense of panic, I know that feeling. It's like your heart's racing, your palms are sweating, you feel so stressed and so trapped, and you just want to control the situation. And like you said, there are so many elements of our lives we can control. If we want to lose weight, we know how to do that. If we want to do well at our job, we know we need to work hard. If we want a new job, we look for a new job. So there are so many things that we can control. So being thrown into not being able to conceive, it's like, how is this happening, and how is this fair, and why can't I control this?
I think that's the thing for a lot of us. It's the first experience we've had in life where we really have just no control, and that in itself, like most other scenarios, you can at least go, well, you know, if I want to do this, I need to get the knowledge, and once I've got the knowledge, then I'll know what to do. I'll know the next step. So with infertility, we all become, you know, because of Google and all the information out there, we become fertility experts ourselves, but
Yeah.
we're desperately trying to find out the answer of why on earth we're not getting pregnant. And
And self-diagnosing.
yeah, and for a lot of us, it's, you know, it can be, I mean, I had endometriosis and I had cysts and we had, you know, there was a lot going on. So we had sort of reasons as well. But in the end, I went through four lots of treatment and then I conceived naturally. So I was like, well, whatever reasons there were, it wasn't that we, you know, maybe it was just going to take that time. And, you know, that was the point, then it was going to happen. But there's still no definitive thing of this is why you didn't get pregnant until the 46th month.
Wow.
And that's what your mind is kind of going through, isn't it? That I've always thought if someone could have just said to me that, you know, that first month when I was really like, yes, this is it, you know, pee on a stick, we're pregnant, off we go in 9 months, you know, 8 months we'll have our baby. If someone had just said, all right, it's going to take about 4 years, don't go insane, just ride it out, you know, because the unknown, that's the thing, isn't it? That you're just like,
horrific. Yeah. Yeah, totally. So at this point, I'm just going to say, if anyone's got any questions for Naomi as we're talking, please fire them across and she will answer. And also, I just want to talk a bit about the article which you've written, which went out on Sunday on Fertility Help Hub. You talk about what we're about to discuss and the mind and the thought process. And you also talked about your own personal journey, if you like, and there was something was misread, wasn't it? So perhaps you could start by talking about how that may have been misconceived and what the actual intention is and how hypnotherapy can help those who might find it useful.
Yeah, so in the article, this is one of the first spaces actually outside of my own blog and community where I really shared my own story. That I was, so about 2 years in after having a failed treatment, I was having panic attacks, I was depressed, I had insomnia, had IBS, all these stress related symptoms. Started practicing mindfulness, and then I just kept learning. So I learned about emotional freedom technique, about cognitive behavioral therapy, hypnotherapy, all of these different techniques, and then left my career and retrained as a therapist. So I was still going through infertility while I was then supporting others going through this. And I got to the point that I still wasn't pregnant. I was still, you know, going through infertility, still going through treatment. But instead of feeling anxious and depressed and overwhelmed and all the things you feel that I just thought was part and parcel, that when you were sort of handed the infertility diagnosis, I was like, well, I'm going to feel crap until I get pregnant. That I couldn't even imagine any other scenario because that was my experience. And then as I was practicing and changing the relationship I had with my own thinking, and I learned that it wasn't the fact that I wasn't getting pregnant that was causing my distress. It was the thoughts I was having about not getting pregnant. That thought in my mind of, what if this never happens? What if I never get pregnant? You know, what if this is just what if? This constant ongoing thing. And once I learned that I didn't have to believe those thoughts, I didn't have to live in that state of constant chronic stress, that then I became so much freer and happier than I had ever been before. And I was still trying to conceive. And that just at the time blew my mind and still blows my mind. I then had a miscarriage that I talked about in the article. So that was the point where I talked about I had a miscarriage. And instead of plummeting back into depression and anxiety, like I'd really imagined I would, I imagined that going through a miscarriage after going through infertility would just be like the worst kind of injustice in the world. I was like, I couldn't get my head around how anybody coped with that. I was like...
This was a miscarriage after IVF, is that right?
Yeah, after IVF. And this was, so about 3.5 years into trying to... And so obviously I was disappointed and I was upset and I was experiencing the grief that comes with losing a baby and all of this, but I didn't dive. I felt what's the right word? So the anxiety I felt when I was going through IUI, that first treatment, that was worse than the experience I had with a miscarriage.
Really?
And it's all to do with just how I was experiencing the thoughts I was having. And I
And so
reached,
were you seeking help at that point to help you with your thought process?
yeah, so I was seeing a cognitive hypnotherapist, and I saw a lady who specialized in miscarriage
Okay.
support.
Okay.
And that session was just so, I just had one session with her specifically on the miscarriage, and it was so healing. And it was this really lovely space for me to deal. I actually felt like I had a huge amount of guilt for the
Yeah.
miscarriage. I was like, it's my fault that my body hasn't been able to hold the baby.
And I think that that does seem to be a very lots of people seem to feel that emotion and feel that guilt when of course it's nothing to do with anything that you've done. So it seems to be something that people deal with, whether they deal with it speaking to you or whether they're dealing with it in silence. It's a horrible, horrible thing to have to feel or to feel.
I think that's the thing. It's being giving yourself the space to feel all the things you need to feel, to be able to release them. So like I said at the start, there's actually no negative emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Even the emotions of guilt, of upset, of depressive thoughts, they're there for a reason, to prompt us to make change. So if we have physical pain in our body, it's to prompt us to take action. If we have physical emotional pain, that is prompting us to take action and to change it. And we can change it. There are
Mm-hmm.
so many different mind body techniques that allow us to. So I say that we can't force ourselves to stay positive. We can't force ourselves to relax. If you just say, like, just relax now, be really relaxed, you're like, ooh.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah.
what we can do is we can learn to release the thoughts that aren't serving us, learn to clear the beliefs that we have in place that could be blocking our ability to conceive.
Mm-hmm.
And we can learn how to release tension in our body. So that's what I wanted to share with us today, is actually take you on a guided visualization of
Amazing.
releasing tension from our bodies, and just to bring everyone listening just that relief that, especially when we're going through fertility, our body can be crying out for, but we kind of keep ourselves tense, keep ourselves moving forwards and I don't want to feel it, so I'm just going to keep going,
Mm-hmm.
because we panic that if we stop and allow ourselves to feel it, it's going to be like this tsunami that is going to flatten us. But if you can do it in a way to really embrace yourself and hold yourself, that's when it's so healing and allows you to then move through those emotions. So in the article I mentioned the 5 steps of my fertile thoughts activation process. And this is a process that I've created. So I 7 years ago started supporting women. I started running a North London fertility support group as
Mm-hmm.
part of INUK. And then at the end of that year, I retrained as a therapist and then was seeing clients. And this was built up, and this is a process that I found for myself was really helpful, and also for my clients. And it's, you start off by just helping your body and mind to cope. That is step 1. We just want to, like, coping. The next is comfort. So with coping, we're using CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy techniques, to help you, like, talk in a way, sort of talk yourself out of the thinking that you're in. So that's sort of like step 1. The next is comfort. So using acupressure techniques to soothe, some of which I'm going to share with you today, to help just soothe and comfort your body, bring your body out of stress response and into relaxation response. And that's where you want to be when you want to get pregnant, because if you're in stress response, if you're in chronic stress, it can delay ovulation, it can negatively impact the quality of eggs and sperm. There's so many knock-on things from being in chronic stress.
Mm-hmm.
So the more you can clear tension from your body, and obviously it feels horrible when you're stressed, whereas if you're feeling really comfortable in your body, that's what you want. The next one.
And sorry, for anyone who's joining or for anyone who's just been listening to this, you can hear more about it and also find out more about Naomi's personal experience and how she helps people in this article we've just been talking about. So just go to the Fertility Help Hub website, the link's in the bio, and you can read more. But please continue, because I wanna hear more about what we might be seeing tonight.
Cool. So the next one is connecting. So we're going to be doing like a little taste of all of these in the visualization in a moment. So the next is connecting. So using mindfulness to really connect with your body, your mind, and also your future baby. Then clearing. Clearing is using emotional freedom technique and hypnotherapy to just clear any of the stuff that might be stopping you from moving forward. So whether that's with, so it could be like a fear of being pregnant, a fear of giving birth, a fear, for me, like clearing the fear of needles so I could take that next step and actually do IVF. It was like I had to clear that to keep moving forwards. And then the last step is creating. And that's when we're using beautiful fertility visualizations and affirmations, because we have done the 4 steps before that. So we're not just, using an I am fertile meditation, affirmation and sticking that on top of all the other stuff that could be holding you back and causing you distress, causing you discomfort in your body.
So is that something you work on with your patients? You unravel what those things might be that are bit sort of being covered up almost with a band-aid, like you said, so that you can process those and move on to the visualization part?
Yeah, so it can be, and this process I work through in the hypnosis MP3s. So on my website, I sell a pack. So it's 3 MP3s, 1 for each stage of your cycle, and that works you through the process as well. So in a month, you could work through, and it's in a very gentle way if you're listening to the hypnosis MP3s, or yes, in my one-to-one sessions, or in the Embrace Fertility method, which is starting again on the 1st of June. We're working through those 5 steps in whatever scale is needed for that individual. And for some people, they don't even know how to connect with themselves. They're so disconnected from their body. So when I was trying to conceive, I got to the point that I couldn't even look in a mirror because I despised my body. I was like, my body is letting me down.
Did you feel angry with it?
Yeah, I don't even want to look at myself. And that, just living in that space was awful and isn't conducive to wanting to nourish and nurture a baby. You need to nourish and nurture yourself first to then have the capacity to, because then, and you can obviously, there are people that get pregnant all the time when they haven't dealt with any of their emotional stuff whatsoever. But then a lot of the time, the pregnancy and birth is when they're then dealing with a lot of these things. That if they're, you might hear of people who are working right up until their due date and don't take any time for themselves between giving everything to their employer and then suddenly having a newborn baby. And it's like, well, where's the nourishing? Where's the nurturing? You're now switching and you're going to be a mother and you want to nurture and nourish, but you haven't given yourself that first.
You've actually just reminded me something in that headspace of being angry with your body. When my first round of IVF failed, I remember peeing on a stick when I wasn't supposed to, maybe a day early, and knowing that negative was going to be a negative, even though the clinic said wait until the blood test the next day. And they said, please carry on with the progesterone, into the bum. And I remember normally I would put, something on there to soothe it first. I was so angry. I just grabbed the long needle, just shoved it in and injected myself because I just didn't care about the pain because I was so cross with my body for letting me down.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is like that is taking the pain and then and adding to the pain and taking it out on yourself, whereas actually what you needed then was a hug and someone just to hold you and be like, it's okay.
Yeah.
But we don't do that for ourselves, is it? We are just like
punish ourselves.
Punish ourselves and keep pushing on and pushing on. So yes, would you like to do a little visualization with me now?
Great.
Excellent. So anyone who's listening, Obviously, if you can stop and close your eyes, if it's safe to do so, that is the ideal. Obviously, if you're in a, well, most people probably aren't going to be driving around because it's lockdown, aren't they? So
Yes.
if everyone's at home, it's absolutely fine. So get yourself somewhere where you can sit comfortably for the next 10 minutes or so. And just get your body super, super comfy. Have a quick drink. And I want you to close your eyes if it feels safe to do so. And just start taking in really deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. In through your nose and out through your mouth. Just allowing your mind and body to settle into this moment. And we're just going to start with a little experiment just to demonstrate how your thoughts impact your physical body. So in your mind's eye, I just want you to imagine that you're picking up a lemon, a really fresh lemon. And I want you to feel its peel in your hand. And I want you to imagine cutting that lemon in half. And then picking it up and smelling half of the lemon. Smelling the juice. And now just imagine taking a bite into that lemon. A massive bite, just feeling the juice in your mouth. And just tune in to what's happened in your mouth. For most people, you will have increased saliva in your mouth because your mind does not know the difference between real or imagined. So as your mind imagined and made those pictures of you cutting the lemon and biting into it, your mouth produced extra saliva in preparation for that lemon, to allow you to bite into the lemon without it being an extremely bitter experience. And just allow your breathing now to be deep and soothing. Coming into this moment, feeling your body sitting here, the chair or bed or floor supporting you in the here and now. And allow your focus to come from the base of your spine, all the way up each vertebrae, up your lower back, your upper back, up your neck, all the way to the very top of your head. And just give your full attention to the very top of your head. And allow any tension to release from your forehead, the little muscles relaxing around your eyes, your cheeks relaxing, your jaw relaxing, perhaps hanging loose. Your breathing still deep and soothing. Bring your attention to your chest, the rise and fall as you breathe, sensation of your heart beating in your chest. And I want you to imagine just searching around your mind and body for any tension, any physical sensations that you wish to be free of. Just breathe into them. Then imagine collecting all of that tension from around your body and bringing into the center of your chest. And adding to that any thoughts or emotions that you wish to have relief from. Bringing them into the center of your chest. With each breath, collecting them from around your mind and body into the center of your chest. And now as you breathe out, Imagine all of that you wish to be free from, just flowing down your arms and placing your hands with your palms facing up. Imagine all of that coming out down your arms into the palms of your hands, as if you're holding a ball of light in front of you. All of the tension from your body, any thoughts or feelings that you want relief from, flowing down your arms into the palms of your hands. Now imagine lifting your arms up until they're just in front of you, opening your palms wide, wide, wide open, and then pulling your hands away and that ball of light just staying floating in front of you. And taking a deep breath in, and as you breathe out, just blowing that ball of light away from you. And again, breathing in. And as you breathe out, blowing away that ball of light. And again, breathing in. And blowing it away. And notice how it feels as you do this. If it feels comfortable for you, then imagine just blowing that ball of light far, far away from you. So it is no longer in your sight. Coming back into your body, just imagine a pure white light flowing down into the very center of the top of your head and filling in all of those areas where in the past there was tension, just flowing now with comfort, with soothing. And placing both hands in the center of your chest, feeling your heart beating, the light flowing in through the top of your head, soothing, caressing your body, bringing comfort. And now just bring to mind a time in the past when you felt incredibly grateful. Bring that memory to mind and just allow a smile to form on your lips. Remembering that moment in time when you felt so, so grateful. Then allow the emotion to spread from your heart throughout your body. This feeling of gratitude. And with one last deep breath in, you can open your eyes.
Feel very relaxed. Feels like time for bed now. How does everyone else feel who's just been doing it? Be good to know other people's experience of it.
Yeah, let us know. How are you feeling? Did you were you able to visualize any tension or any thoughts releasing, Eloise?
I did. And what was great was it let me momentarily forget about some of my everyday stresses. Because I personally do find it very hard to let go. My mind always goes at a million miles an hour, no matter what I'm doing. So I almost need guidance from someone like you to be able to let go. I can't do it on my own. And I think because I had cognitive hypnotherapy when I was going through IVF, and I'm a big advocate because it helped me so much visualize my womb as a nourishing garden. And those are things that made me feel that, like, not tips, but they're techniques that I could then carry on to my next transfer. So when we did IVF again, And I feel like they're also visualizations that you can practice in other stresses of your life if you're having trouble sleeping and things like that. So really powerful and really helpful. Thank you, Naomi.
I think that's the beauty, that these techniques aren't just to help you get pregnant. So even though there are so many studies now that show that mind-body techniques can improve your chance of conceiving, both naturally and through treatment. And I love finding out the science behind all of this. It was like, why does that help you get pregnant? And that's what I'm going to be talking about. I'm running a masterclass on Sunday afternoon.
Tell people watching more about that. And someone has just said they definitely visualize negative feelings leaving their body, which is brilliant.
Fantastic. So yes, this is something that you can keep doing, and you can do a very short version of it as well. So you can just, if you've got something that's really bugging you, or even like, tension, like if your neck's aching, you can just imagine it in magic flowing out. Okay, Sunday afternoon, I'm running a free masterclass called Fertility and the Mind, the Truth. Okay. And I'm going to be talking more about this, about how stress impacts fertility and how infertility impacts stress, because it goes both ways, which is a delightful combination. And talking about really simple things you can do so even that tiny practice is enhancing your fertility, because you're releasing tension from your body. And you're instructing your mind. So we're literally telling your mind, release this tension, release these thoughts, and experiencing even the most tiny of shifts in how you feel. If you just feel a little bit better, then when you're feeling like really, really bad, this has worked for you in the past. So this is something you can come back to. And like you said, it's not just to get pregnant. It then helps you throughout pregnancy, and then when you are a parent, and it can help at so many different times in your lives. And knowing these techniques, knowing that you can really help yourself, I think that's the most beautiful thing about this. It's like, okay, I was guiding you at that point, but you can obviously, you can have a hypnosis MP3 and you can be listening to it, but you are listening and you are the one instructing your body what you want to do. So like, in my hypnosis MP3, we're imagining your womb being this beautiful, welcoming place, and we're inviting your baby in. We're not demanding, because some hypnosis MP3s can be like, you are now pregnant, and the egg meets the sperm, and you visualize it, and they're again so harsh and so demanding. And what you want is to be very, very masculine. I think you want to be very feminine. You want to, can you imagine like saying to someone, it's like, you are going to come to my house, and you are going to come now. You are going to come now, right now, otherwise I'm going to be so pissed. Can you imagine that too? We're really ready for you.
Yeah.
Come when you are ready. It is an invitation, not a demand. And even the sensations and the feeling around that are so, so different. And mixing them, I told you I was going to share an acupressure technique, didn't I? So a beautiful one, which we can do now, is a self-hug. Let me just see if I can get a little bit higher. What you can do is just take one arm underneath your boobs, and other arm on top, and wrapping your fingers around your elbow. And just sit like this as we're chatting. So this holds acupressure points on your ribs and on your arm that just soothe your body and allow you to relax. So this is a great one, like, whenever you're watching TV or dinner digest, or chatting on Zoom, since most of us seem to spend most of it whenever you're on Zoom. Give yourself a self-hug. And just feel, just for a moment, just allow yourself to feel what that is like. Just bringing comfort, soothing your body. And it's such, again, that act of compassion. So that moment when you said you were so angry, if you'd known about this technique, you might not have wanted to do it. You were like, okay, I'm just going to try the self-hug just for a couple of seconds. Well, probably won't work. I'm just going to try it. By doing that, you would have felt relief. You would have felt soothed. You would have felt safe. And from that place, you then start to make different decisions. That's what's so magical about this, that it's not just, do these things, you're more likely to get pregnant. It's do these things and then you react differently. You respond to things differently because you have a different awareness of how you're treating yourself and how you're how the thoughts, so in those moments you were so angry, even though you knew logically, oh, I should wait till tomorrow, you were so angry at yourself in that moment. But by having the awareness of, I'm having angry thoughts, I don't need to believe them right now. Like, what can I do to feel better? What can I do to find relief? So I do a free Fertile Thoughts activation pack, like freebie on my website that people can sign up for. And in there's a little ebook of the emotions game, and that shows all the different emotions that we can experience, from like depression right up to gratitude and joy. And it's got a little icon of a lady, you know, down there on jealousy. And then just ask yourself, what thought can I think to feel better right now? And that's all you need to do. You're not saying, what do I need to feel better? You know, how do I go from down here to jumping up to the top? But what thought can I think just to give myself a little bit of relief in that moment? And even having the awareness to ask yourself that question brings relief, because you realize you are not stuck on that low vibe emotion. You can change it by choosing to think another thought, and think another thought, and think another thought.
It's amazing.
So
it's amazing how you've shown us with that guided meditation, thank you, how we can control our thoughts to a degree. It feels, and gain back that sense of control that everyone is desperately you know, sad and worried to have lost.
I think
is that an overriding emotion that people that come to you feel? A sense of loss of control?
Yeah, loss of control, and also a lot of anger, and feeling a lot of anger directed at the self, that can then manifest as anxiety, as panic attacks. So even though you might say, well, I'm not an angry person, actually it can be anger that we're holding in because we're not allowing ourselves to express it, that then is coming out. So for me, the panic attacks were because I was holding all of these emotions in. So my body was then physically like manifesting my anxiety as, you know, physical panic attacks. So my body was experiencing the panic. And it was then at that point that I was like, right, you really need to do something about this now. Whereas until it got to that point, I kind of just kept pushing them down, I didn't want to feel it. I didn't want to experience it. But actually, every emotion is there to guide us and share something. So this morning I did an interview with Sarah Holland as part of her Fertility Focus series. We were talking about coping with jealousy.
Yeah.
Said, you know, even jealousy, ask the jealousy, what are you here to show me? And you can say that to every emotion that you're feeling angry. What are you here to show me? And there will be a message. So with jealousy, that emotion is showing you what I can see in my life. That is what I want. It's like a pointer of like, do you want this? Well, yes, I want that. And it's not what you're seeing that's causing you distress. It's all the thinking around, what if I don't get to have that? That's what causes the distress.
And is there also a bit of, why has that person got what I want and I can't get that?
Yeah. And it can be that whole thing of, you know, all the questions, and it's like then that trigger of all the thinking and all the like what ifs and what if nevers are triggered by this one thing. But if you're aware of what your background thinking is, you can start to like unpick that with CBT and start to understand that you don't need to get on that train of thoughts that take you off down into anxiety. You can just go, well, actually, what can I do to fit, you know, what do I need right now? This is one of my favorite phrases. So we all wake up in the morning and we go, what do I need to do today? What's my to-do list? You know, what are the top 3 things I need to tick off my list?
Before we've even got out of bed.
Yeah, so we're literally lying there. It's like, today, and then we get up and off, you know, grab your phone and off you go.
Yeah.
Whereas actually, if you ask yourself, what do I need? What does my body need? What does my mind need? And really listening to those answers. And this might take a while, like, because, you know, if you've never asked your body or your mind what you need, you might just get a blank for a while. But if you get really quiet and are open to receiving an answer, your mind and body will tell you. And it might be something really simple, like you need to drink more water. You know, you feel a bit, because sometimes you can feel a bit naff and a bit like, and you're just dehydrated.
Yeah.
And that seems so simple.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Or you're hungry. You know what I mean? It's that whole thing of like, if you were looking after an 8-year-old and they were a bit pissy, you'd be like, oh, God, you know, have they had a drink? Have they had a snack? Have they slept enough? Like they might need a wee. Like, do that with yourself. Because a lot of the time we can, you know, especially if you're like working on a computer and you're like, and you go, I'll get a cup of tea in a minute. I'll have a break in a minute. And you're overriding your body's messages. And what you want, especially when you want to conceive, you want to be listening to your body's messages. You want to be so tuned in with what your body's telling you. So then if something, so there's a lot of things as well within hypnosis, we can actually ask the body and go like, well, you know, what is wrong? Why aren't you ovulating? And sometimes we will get answers that then, you know, you go to the doctor and you have whatever test you need and they go, oh, right, yeah, you are right. You are deficient in blah, blah, blah. And you're like, your body knows all this stuff. Let's use it and ask it.
Amazing. And I think to your point about giving yourself that time for reflection, and as some people have just said, whether it's daily meditations or weekly or whatever you can manage. Now, whilst people generally are still, wherever you are in the world, in a calmer moment of life in terms of maybe working from home and not rushing out on a commute, that's the perfect time to be able to do it at home, isn't it? Especially if you don't want to be doing a self-hug in public.
Yeah. Well, whenever I do it, my husband's always like, he's like, are you in a mood with me?
Yeah.
Arms. And I'm like, no, just self-hug. Yeah, now is a perfect time. So yeah, people can come sign up for the freebie on my website, and there's this 4-minute MP3 there. So it's 4 minutes. You can just start practicing and get used to giving yourself that tiny window. Because yeah, like you said, now is the perfect time before everything ramps up again. Start practicing now, and it will be like brushing your teeth. It'll be like, if you haven't done it, you'll be like, well, something just feels a bit, oh, I haven't brushed my teeth. Oh, I haven't done my 4-minute today. Because your mind and body get used to just having those, like the little technique we just did. Your body gets used to that feeling of relief, that sort of sigh of relief that you're like,
oh, I try that. Yeah.
And then you start to crave it, and then it becomes something that you're just, well, why would I not do that? It feels really nice. You know, why would I not brush my teeth? It feels horrible if I don't brush my teeth. Why would I not do a 4-minute mindful meditation? It feels lovely when I do that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And also, as you said, like starting your day right. But you could do it at any point in the day, couldn't you? It doesn't have to be in the morning.
And it can be whenever you're feeling so it's the absolute best time to do it is when you're feeling really naff, or when you really don't want to do it because you're like, you know, that whole phrase of like, oh, when I'm too busy to meditate, or if you're really busy, you should meditate more, because it then opens you up to have that expansion to fire through things a lot quicker, because it clears your mind, and then the real gems of good ideas pop up.
A bit like exercise. You love it once you've done it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's also, yeah, once you've done it, then you're like, I've done it for the day.
Yeah.
Tick, exactly.
So true. So true. Oh, that's amazing. Thank you, Naomi. I think everyone has really appreciated hearing that and joining in with that guided meditation. And people can watch it back through my website as well. I'll put this up on the website and on Instagram. And also for anyone who is interested in Naomi's freebie on Sunday, go to her website. And also the course starting on the 1st of June. More details of that obviously through your website, and do check out the article which Naomi wrote for us this week on the Fertility Help Hub website. It's brilliant, and you just sort of go through in more detail some of the stuff we talked about today. So thanks again for your time, and have a good evening, everybody.
Thank you for having me on. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Bye-bye. Bye.